get out of this week, Matt? As far as the bye, is there any big things, or is it?
It's called health.
I mean, that's really the big thing this week.
That is the big thing. We got to get these guys their bodies back, and then we all also understand that it's going to be a long haul after the bye. So you better get your mind right to go on that journey and to try to get a little bit better every day.
How do things look for getting your two starting linemen back?
We'll see. I don't know. I think it's still, we're ways out from that. So we'll have a better indication, I would say Monday.
What's the prognosis on why?
I'd say week to week.
The early deep ball, was that supposed to be for Wicks running the go, or was it Golden? They ended up awfully close together.
You don't like that distribution, Rob?
He made the play, it worked out, right? But is it about process, not results?
It is about matter of fact, we had a long meeting about that today. Yeah, it was one of those deals where obviously we got Golden running a deep corner route, if you will, and I think it was a unique situation because a lot of times when a receiver has an out-breaking route and he kills a guy off the line of scrimmage, the natural instinct is throw your hand up and go score a touchdown. Unfortunately, in that situation, that wasn't the right time for that adjustment, and that's how because I think what happened, they busted the coverage. They had no half-field player, and it probably would have been a touchdown, but it is what it is. It was a good teachable moment.
On the check down to Emmanuel late in overtime, do you think that you might have had something to Golden in the opposite flat?
No. I think we're just obviously dissecting that whole end-of-game process. There's been a lot of conversation on that, and where I need to be better for our team is just communicating in that situation. We all know what we're looking for on that play. We're looking for the same response that we got the previous play when Diggs, they really weren't quite aligned, and he shot when we threw the flat route out to Golden, and he shot his gun and went and made the tackle, and if we would have had the pump on that play, we would have walked in the end zone. So where I've got to be better is to just tell Jordan, hey, it's either there or throw it away, because obviously we got ourselves in a situation that we don't want to be in, where it's an on-the-ball last play attempt, which we have plays for those situations. It's just we didn't execute the play that we have for the situation because we hadn't, in my opinion, we haven't put our players through that enough times where it's just automatic. So it's unfortunate. It's a tough learning lesson for us, but it's one of those things that you can't just practice every once in a while. That needs to be a part of practice every week if you want our guys, because in those critical situations, you got to be flawless. I mean, we went to what we call, it was an on-the-ball ozone situation, which don't come up very often, but when they come up, they matter because it's the most critical point of the game. And to not execute that in that situation, that was tough to watch.
All right, so it's your fault for not telling Jordan to throw the ball away if it's not there, and he throws the check down, and that puts you in that situation. Once that has happened, what are the guys supposed to do? Because from the outside looking in, it didn't look like there was the urgency that was required.
The urgency that was required didn't happen previous to that as well, which gets into the process of we ran a play out of the 2-minute, and then we huddled up. And we called a play. We thought they were going to be in cover 2. They played man coverage. We hit Rome on a slant. And at that point is when, in my mind, it's 2-minute. We operated out of a different 2-minute formation. So I would say this, where we have to clear up the communication is when we're not in 2-minute mode and then you jump into 2-minute mode, everybody on the field has to know that. And they have to operate as such. And we were operating more of our, no huddle tempo, which isn't warp speed, whereas 2-minute is got to be warp speed, and it just wasn't. It's a bad look, quite honestly, and you know, that's why you get a bad result as well. But it's just the communication and process have got to be cleaned up, because we can't allow that ever to happen again.
Does the quarterback, is he responsible for getting everybody, let's go?
I'm responsible for that.
Now, so Jordan comes off after the incompletion that leaves the 1 second left, and you're not ranting and raving and yelling at him, but you can see on the TV, you talk to him. So what's the message there?
Yeah, I don't even know, because it was like watching a slow motion car crash in front of your face, where I'm just looking at the clock and I'm like, oh my God, there's going to be no time left. I mean, it's a very humbling experience to go through that, and it's unacceptable, quite honestly. So, and there's nothing we can do about it now other than we better learn from it, everybody. I'm sure it'll be a teach tape for around the league, to be honest with you.
On the block extra point, back in the Stone Age, the philosophy was you block the inside guy. Obviously, that inside guy got through Luke. Is that what should have happened there? You should have blocked the inside guy, or what's supposed to happen there?
You're supposed to give body presence, and we've got to extend our outside arm, and by the tight end, and it got knocked down. And it's just, all in all, it wasn't good in regards to our sets, to be able to hinge and open up and obstruct that D gap right there, and the guy got through clean. And we knew it was coming because it happened the previous play. They just didn't get down as clean, or didn't get through as clean, because we got a piece of the man with our arm.
Matt, Romeo doesn't like to talk about himself much, and obviously last year wasn't probably exactly how we would want it with the concussions and everything else. What has he given you that you like so much through the first 4 games, especially that game in Dallas?
Yeah, I just think when his number's called upon, he's delivered. And I think it's been his approach. In 4 years, Rome has done everything the right way. I know there was a little blip on the screen, but I think that was just a one-off. And over time, he does everything the right way in regards to how he prepares, how he supports his teammates. So it's really cool to see a guy have success like that. And I would expect that to continue, because he approaches the game the right way. He comes to work every day with the right mentality. He puts the work in. He does extra work. He does all the little things required, I think, to help you become the best version of you. And it's really cool to see.
Matt, the old saying about you get what you emphasize, you guys have emphasized takeaways like crazy, and yet you're sitting here with 2 interceptions. How is that possible?
It's a great question. I think there's been a couple more out there for us that we hasn't quite capitalized on, but yeah, it's just a lot of times they come in bunches, and credit to the teams we played, have done a nice job of not allowing us to get a bunch of takeaways, just like I think our offense has done a fairly decent job of not giving the ball away. So it's just hasn't rolled our way up to this point. Now, we're going to continue to emphasize it and continue to work on it, and I do think it's a matter of time before we get a couple to go our way.
You guys, you gave up almost as many points as you had in the first 3 games combined. After watching the tape, what did you see? What do you think was the biggest issue there?
Well, where do we start? So there was a lot of issues, obviously. Anytime you give up 40 points, it's not good enough. I thought, it was like a snowball effect. Once they got the 1 touchdown, and then we had obviously the major miscue at the end of the half in terms of being aggressive, in a situation that if I could go back in time would do it totally different. in regards to just hand the ball off, try to get out of the half. But it's just we never recovered from that point forward, and so we had some breakdowns in coverage. There was a couple situations where we finally did get them to third down, where we're in man coverages and we're playing off, and they got easy completions. Had some situations where we missed too many tackles and could have really taken advantage of whether it was get back on track or third and long. Instead, they're breaking a tackle and they're either making a third and short or getting a first down. So, yeah, all in all, it got real sloppy in the second half.
You guys have been pretty good over your time at end of half, end of game type situations. Was there anything that you guys got out of your normal practice of it?
No, I think it was just, honestly, I think it was just a bad decision. I mean, I always try to trust my gut in those situations. I think in this one, I kind of went against it, to be honest with you, because that's always weighing, especially, I would say, when somebody gets the ball back or somebody goes down and scores and they're getting the ball to start the second half. You know, you got to play all the scenarios. And when we received the kickoff, wasn't anticipating getting on the 20-yard line, but they did have 3 timeouts, so I knew we had to get a first down. We had to get a first down. Once we got the first down, we popped the timeout. I think we were on the 31-yard line or something like that, 31, 32-yard line. And then we had a false start, and at that point, should have just shut it down, and I didn't.
You talking about starting at the 20, was there anything, I mean, those kicks were pretty well placed, basically bouncing just short of the goal line. Was there anything Savion or any of those guys?
Yeah, I think we got to field those. And I mean, yeah, we've got to make every attempt to at least to try to catch those in the air, because, I mean, that's a drastic difference when you're talking. Most of these returns are going out to at least the 28-yard line. You're talking a difference of 8 yards at a bare minimum, in my opinion. I think we'll get it out every time past the 30. So, yeah, we got to field those. We got to be better in those situations.
Speaking of returners, what's the thinking on your end of going with Golden, who's never returned punts in his life, he said, and Savion, who returned some kickoffs as a freshman in 2020? That's 2 young guys in a really key spot.
Because we feel like they give us the best chance at being successful.
So it's just one of those deals where you'll take your lumps
I
until
think
they
so.
figure it out.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you got to get experience one way or the other, and it's not. They do a great job in practice. I think that's ultimately. I get it. Game's a little bit different in practice, especially when you're catching kicks, because in practice nobody's going to blow you up, and then in a game, we all saw what happened to Golden. I mean, he got thumped pretty good. I did think his pop-up game was on point, though. He showed some toughness. I mean, I would talk to him about it today. I was like, man, I didn't think you were going to get up. But he's a tough guy. And I think we've got a lot of confidence in both those guys and belief that they're going to continue to get better and better.
As a whole, with your special teams, what do you think it'll take to fix the issues that have propped up? Do you have to coach it differently, or anything have to change there? What do you think it'll take?
Well, we shuffled around. I mean, the glaring ones is the blocks, right? You had a block field goal, then you got a block PAT, and certainly those were, huge plays. I don't want to say it's never one play why you win or lose. Obviously, those were pretty big plays in the game. But we shuffled some personnel around. I thought it was really encouraging to see us hit a 53-yarder, to send it into overtime, and then to come back and hit a game-tying field goal in overtime. So I think if we can just clean up those catastrophic errors, which that's a big if. We'll be in a lot better spot. And I'm confident that we shuffled around some personnel, and it looks a lot cleaner right now.
Speaking of special teams, is McManus okay?
Yes.
Okay, so when he kicked that field goal, it was kind of an awkward reaction from him.
Yeah, I think it's from the 2 tackles he had on kickoff.
I know it's a bang-bang play, but watching the game-tying field goal, was that one close to being a block too, or was I just seeing things there?
Yeah, I think you were just seeing things.
I was having a conversation with somebody about this.
The
What are
first one was close to being blocked, the first PAT. And that's when, and then the second one got blocked, and then we went with we shuffled some guys around.
what are the odds of scoring on 4th and 16?
It's 4th and 16?
Yeah, the last play from the 16.
That's a great question. I'm sure you know the answer though, Pete. You're asking.
I don't. I was just talking about this with somebody about kicking or going for it, and
Somebody said they'd go for that?
yeah.
Interesting. All right. Let them come up here and answer questions after the game.
Speaking of,
It's great if it works out, but I mean, I would say it's probably less than 5%. It's just my guess.
speaking of fourth downs, you had the 4th and 2 in the first half. You took the delay game and punted all that. I assume there was some thought of going for it. Why didn't you go for it? Obviously, it worked out.
No
for
thought
you.
of going for it right there.
Okay. Because obviously you punted and it kind of works out for you. I guess you got this.
I know some of our guys wanted us to go for it, but like, here's the deal. If that happened in the second half, based on the complexion of the game, I probably would have had a different decision. In the first half, the way our defense has been playing up to this point, and with the kicker they have, Aubrey, I mean, you're already in field goal range for him. So, you know, hindsight's 20/20. Had I known the game was going to go the way it was going to go, would have gone for it. But unfortunately, you just don't have that foresight of all the time of how the game's going to go.
That's so to follow up on that. So the way the defense played on Sunday, do you have to kind of rethink future
No.
decisions on that? Or you
I think, I don't want to say no. I don't think anything's an absolute. I think every game is its own game, and you got to judge based on the flow of the game, who you're going against, who do they have. I'd say there's a lot of layers to it, a lot of factors in determining whether or not to go for it in those situations.
So, Matt, big picture, I know it's a week-to-week league, right? But the first 2 weeks look like a damn good football team. And then things go the way they did in Cleveland, and then obviously Sunday night. Do you have a good feel for what your team is, or did you find yourself trying to figure out if they're different than what you thought? Like, what has it been like to see the 4 weeks play out the way they have?
Yeah, right now it feels like kind of like a kick in the gut. It definitely feels more like a loss than anything else. Just talking about this last game, I think what's disappointing is when you have opportunities to win games, which we had an opportunity in both games to win the game, and when you don't win the game, it's disappointing. So you just look around the league, though. I mean, you can't take anything for granted. You see it every week. Somebody who is supposed to win the game, not win the game. It's just, this league is competitive. That's why you can't take it for granted. And you got to give your best shot every week. Otherwise, you will get beat.
So do you still feel like you've got a really good team, and you have to figure out to make sure, how do you make sure that your guys play that way every week, or what do you kind of?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're always trying to do. It's not like any of these guys want to go out and play bad, or, you know, we make mistakes. It's not, we're not playing the game to lose the game. But yeah, you just I don't know. It's just, when given opportunities, you got to maximize them. You got to capitalize on them. And when you don't, you feel like how we feel right now. So I think this will be a good reset for us, and then we'll get back together on Monday and, you know, get on to Cincinnati.
Will you guys open up Christian's practice window when you get back next week?
That's been in discussion.
But nothing decided yet?
Well, I think we got a couple days, right?
Along the lines of with Jason's question about who the 2025 Packers are, do you come into the season with like an ultimate destination vision and coach and message towards that, or is it how the season unfolds kind of dictates that path?
No, I think we all have the same. If you feel like you have a team that's capable, I mean, every team in the league comes in and says they're chasing, the Lombardi, right? And it's just, but it's a process to get there. And I don't expect us to play our best football in September. We've got to get better. I'm more worried about getting better each and every game. And you can look at our record right now. We're 2-1-1. Are we disappointed we're not better? Absolutely. But I still think even in the 2 games that we won, I don't think we've put together a full game of complementary football. So we've got to somehow, some way, be able to do that collectively in all 3 phases where we're putting our best out there. But you see it, the majority of these games are going down to the last minutes of the game. That's just how the league is. And you got to give Dallas a ton of credit. I mean, that is a damn good offense. I mean, they're statistically, I don't know where all the DVOA nerds are out there, but statistically, they're one of the best offenses in the league. And then the week before, you're going against one of the best defenses in the league. So we've got to somehow find a way that when you're playing somebody else's strength, like, you got to hold up your end really in every phase to find a way to win the game.
Matt, Micah, he was in the press conference, obviously very, frustrated in just how the game played out. What can you say about just his mindset and how he's handled everything, and even just, not dealing with the emotions of going back to Dallas?
He's been great. I mean, he's been outstanding since he's got here. And the guy comes in, he goes to work, and I see him being a good teammate. He does a great job of getting that whole D-line together, doing things outside of the building, which I think is important for them just to establish, that connection, I would say. He's been awesome.
What did you like about your run game in the second half?
That we gained some yards, finally. I mean, it's been a struggle. We all know that. I think, running the football can be interesting at times because a lot of times early on you might not get many yards or it's tough sledding, and then also it's kind of like just a boxing match when somebody's throwing body blows, and then you just kind of soften them up as the game goes. And I thought that's kind of what happened in the game, and then we took some advantage of some of the lighter boxes they were playing. They played a bunch of shell. Probably played a little bit more man than we were anticipating, just based on what they had shown on tape, which I've come to learn that you just got to know what they have in their arsenal and have answers for whatever it is going to come your way. But I just thought, our backs ran hard. I thought our guys were coming off the ball up front, and I still think there's more out there for us. But I was happy to see it kind of get going as the game progressed.